Payam Akhavan is an international lawyer and a professor at McGill University in Montreal. He is a member of the Permanent Court of Arbitration at The Hague. He has played a leading role as a pioneer of international criminal law and global justice, and is well regarded as a leading scholar and practitioner of international law and human rights. He is an important figure also in the Iranian human rights movement, as you may all know. In 2005, he was selected by the World Economic Forum as a young global leader. He has received his doctorate of law from Harvard School.
I would like to also express my profound gratitude for all of those that have organized this evening. It is said that a single death is a tragedy, but a million deaths is a statistic. One could say the same thing about political prisoners, that Saeed Malikpour is not a statistic. He reminds us that behind every victim, there is a name, there is a sister, there is a brother, there is a mother and father, a whole universe of human relations. And tonight, we are all the brothers and sisters of Saeed and Maryam, and we join voices to let his tormentors in Iran know that we will not remain silent, that we will not forget. And it's easy to underestimate what it means to speak truth to power. We have here dear friend Mohammed and a number of others who are all here because someone spoke truth to power, because someone was not deterred by the seeming invincibility of those who need to throw innocent people in prison to feel powerful. Is that an expression of power, or is it the most profound expression of weakness? A man that beats his wife and children is not a powerful man. He's a pathetic man that needs to inflict violence on others to feel powerful. A regime that throws innocent people in prison and tortures them is not a powerful regime. It is a pathetic and desperate regime that is holding on to power at all costs. And when we talk about Saeed and others being pawns, as bargaining chips in some sort of game, let us not underestimate the power that we have here in Canada. Canada, I've said for many years, is one of the biggest money laundering centers for the Islamic Republic's elites. Let us not kid ourselves. If you walk out of this building a few blocks towards downtown, you will find several buildings worth millions of dollars that are the money of those that benefit directly from a regime that tortures and executes and imprisons and persecutes its people. So if they want to use Saeed as a bargaining chip, well, we can play the same game, can't we? If they want to let their families come here and enjoy our universities, our freedoms, our liberties, then let us send a clear signal to them that we demand Saeed's release, not because it's a nice thing for them to do, but because it's a demand, because there is a price attached to their failure to surrender. That is the only language that tyrannies understand, whether it's in Iran, whether it's in Egypt, or anywhere else in the world. I'm just going to end by doing what Persians have to do, which is to end with a poem. And since Mehrdad put me last, and thank you, Mehrdad, for doing that, because all the wonderful things have already been said, so I find refuge in a poem. And it's a poem which you find at the portal of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, a poem written by Saadi, one of the great mystical voices of, I don't want to say Persian culture, because his voice is universal, it transcends culture. And the poem says that all people, all humans are members of one whole, created in essence of one soul. If fate afflicts one part with pain, The other parts, uneasy, will remain. If you cannot feel human pain, the name of human you cannot retain. So we are here because the pain of Said, the pain of Mariam, the pain of all those that languish as prisoners who suffer injustice is the pain of all of us. And I have no doubt that if we do not underestimate our power, that soon we will see Said here in our midst. Thank you.
So I know that you are all tired, so I cut my questions from 10 to 1. How's that? So the question is, what's your message for the public who are gathered here? What I know that you have repeatedly said many things, but because we are taking note and this is being recorded and we can then conclude and maybe hold you accountable for this. So the question is how this public who are gathered here can help with this case, and how can you personally help with that cause? We can start from you, Payam, because you were the last time.
Well, is Olivia Ward in the room? Is Olivia here? Where is Olivia? She just left. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, well, okay, good, because I want to recognize Olivia Ward, who is an amazing, amazing woman. She, for years, has been writing about Hamid, about Said, about yours truly, really. And you see, this is it. She doesn't have to do that. She doesn't have to do that. It's not necessarily in the interest of her career. She does it because of, hi, Olivia.
Only one thing to say. That was really a total surprise to me. But when I speak to journalism students, one of the first things I say to them is, you are not the story. The story is out there, and it's up to you to find it. And that is why everybody is here tonight for Said, including me. Thank you.
Olivia, how are you? I've never met you before, and you've written about me so many times, and before you go, I'd just like to say that I'm here, and it's very good to see you.
Olivia,
very happy to see you, honestly.
These are your children, Olivia, so you got to take good care of them. So I just wanted to explain that there are so many ways in which we can take initiative. So one can speak about letter writing campaigns through Amnesty, calling up your member of parliament. But I want to say one last thing other than give an example of Olivia. We have here my dear friend, Antonella. And I remember walking downtown some years ago on Yonge Street around the Eaton Center. And I see Antonella there with like 4 or 5 other people holding a sign, "Free my husband." And I was astonished. I looked at her in the middle of nowhere, right? And, you know, one could so easily have just given up. One could so easily have said, oh, isn't that sweet what she's doing for her husband? He's never going to be released. This is absolutely hopeless. But you did it, and he's here tonight. So...
what can we do? There's 2 words that come to mind for me, and it's multiply and amplify. I think everything everyone has talked about tonight is all about the responsibility, the opportunity, but the power of collective action. I think all of the freed prisoners with us here tonight, I'm sure, would absolutely verify that that's essential to gaining freedom. And I think we can and must move out of this amazing gathering tonight with that sort of commitment taken right to our hearts. But let's make it concrete. So I'm going to give you all a challenge. It's Friday night, the weekend's ahead. And I want everyone in this room to make this a weekend where you're going to find 10 people who don't know about Saeed's case, who haven't thought about Saeed's case, who haven't taken action on Saeed's case. And by the end of the weekend, your responsibility and challenge is to have convinced those 10 people to have taken action. Just look at the numbers who are here tonight. Imagine if we accomplished that just in the next 48 hours, but then keep it going for the days and the weeks to come. I think that's absolutely what we have to come out of tonight with.
Well, I guess I just want to repeat what Alex has said. It's very important that we keep talking about it, keep his name on the agenda. I know that in my case, I don't have a Facebook myself. I'm not so digitally advanced, but I realize so many people know, for instance, about my case through friends of friends and friends. And so the Facebook became one of the major means into people being informed about my case. And letter writing and talking to other people, I think is very important, again, to keep this his name on the agenda, to talk about it, and also asking friends to write letters and doing whatever they can to write to the Canadian government, write to your MPs, write to the Iranians. And I think it's also that it's very important for them to get the letter that there are people who demand his release. So I think solidarity work and campaigning is very important role at this stage. And let's make the day Malakpour's day and keep talking about him. That's the most important one. And those of you who are journalists and have access to media, please do use it. It does make a difference. Thank you.
I'd like to add my voice to the champions on this table, and I can't express how important it is indeed to keep, using these hashtags and, advocating and speaking to the press and translating from English to Iranian for those who don't understand back in Iran how important the story is. And I just want to say, as a journalist, journalists get bored very easily, and you need to get their attention sometimes and give them a reason to revisit the story, a peg, a reason to keep going and reporting the story. And just by you being here, I'm sure there are journalists who are here today to cover this event, and their editors are now convinced of why they should write about this story. So it is very important to keep the journalists always engaged and keep the story in the press. And I'm traveling to Geneva end of the month, and Mr. Irvin is going to be there as well, and we will be speaking about Saeed's case there, among other cases, because it's and should be an international issue, not just a local Canadian issue. This is a man's life we're talking about here, and a man who's innocent, and we should capitalize on every single political event, human rights event, and any chance that we can get to help him. And I hope the Canadian government is listening, because they have intervened in the past for non-Canadians, and they should be doing this for Saeed.
I think each one in this room should see himself and herself as being an advocate on behalf of Saeed, and thereby create a critical, massive advocacy, internationalize that advocacy, sustain it, and if we keep at it, we will see Saeed securing the freedom we all want for him. Thank you.